What is going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building for another episode of the Shop Podcast. A very, very, very special episode. So, you guys know, if you've been here for a while, we've been doing this thing here called the Shop Podcast for about 6+ years now. And today we hit a huge milestone. This is episode 250. So, shout out to everybody watching. Shout out to everybody who's ever supported us in any way, shape, or form, whether it be social media, whether it be YouTube, whether it be actual, DMs, messages, whatever the case may be. Want to thank you guys because we're here because of you guys. We made it to this number, which is insane because of you guys. And so we're doing something special this weekend. Obviously, we always doing guests here this weekend, but we have someone who means a lot to me, someone who actually was there when we actually started from day one, who encouraged me to start the podcast, who encouraged me to continue to do the podcast going along the way. So this man is a big, big, big supporter of mine. I am indebted to this gentleman. He's a huge motivational factor for me in doing the podcast. So just go ahead and shout yourself out, Big Tim Dog. Appreciate you hanging out with us, man. Thank you for kicking it with us. Always glad you're here. You feel like family. You really are. But thank you, man. Go ahead and give yourself a shout out.
Man, like I said, pre-show, this is we did our first show together, and I when I say that you're one of my favorite podcasts on other podcasts, it's the truth. I would probably be on the show a lot more if I didn't have if it wasn't on a Saturday. I have my daughter a lot, but I love the show. I love you as a person. You've always been a stand-up dude. We go way back. The panel, Pong and Fuzzy, awesome people. Just very happy to be here. It's a big monumental 250 shows. It just goes to show you that you're a huge fan and you've done a lot for the community. And I'll be there for 300 and for 500 and for 1,000. So just happy to be here. Like I said, you're a top-notch dude. We haven't met up yet at E3. We plan to, but
yeah, we do.
COVID got smashed in, but it's going to be in the future, and I look forward to meeting you and maybe your family as well. But it's just like I said, it's a pleasure to be here, and you do a great show, and thank you for providing the community for over I don't even how many years now.
Like six and a half.
Six years with just awesome content.
Thank you. I appreciate, and that means so much coming from me. If you guys know, Tim is synonymous with the just Twitter gaming in general. So if you're not already, following Tim, please do that. All this information down in the description. Like I said before, huge influence for me. Before I started doing the podcast, me and Tim linked up on Twitter. We talked. Always a stand-up guy. He pushed me to do the podcast. He agreed to be on the first show. Like, man, all right, I'm gonna do this with you. You got to do this though. You got to get started. I'm gonna do it with you. And then we ended up having Aaron Greenberg and all of that happened, and it was all crazy. And it became kind of a thing, and that kind of jump started the Shop Podcast. So, like I said, I am forever indebted to this gentleman. And I appreciate you, Tim. I know you can't come on as often as you like, but you're always family every time you're here, bro. So, thank you for just taking a little time this weekend. No, not a problem at all, brother. Not a problem at all. Shout out to you guys in chat. Thank you for the $2 super chat from Drawn. TJ, thank you. He said, hi, guys. Hi to you, TJ. If you're new here, brother, subscribe. You're going to enjoy the show. I can promise you that. Hang out in the chat with us. Everything here is for you guys, right? So let's keep it authentic. So once again, Tim, appreciate you hanging out with us. Let's go on to our two compadres here. My two right-hand men, and I appreciate these gentlemen so much on this momentous day here for the Shop Podcast. We'll start with you, Pong Harvey. I appreciate you, brother. Every week, the Duracell battery of the podcast, super consistent. Everybody in chat can vouch for you. You're always authentic, always been day one. I knew he was going to be a rock star. I told you would be. So I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for spending time here. But let everybody know how your week been, where they can find you.
Man, PTK, it is just an honor to be celebrating number 250 with you again. So much credit goes to you for giving me the opportunity when I decided to jump in this community and actually start doing podcasting instead of just simply being in chats all the time. You were one of the first, man. I mean, again, you came to me after that first show and asked me to be on permanently. I couldn't believe it. Again, still to this day, I'm honored to be here, and doubly honored this evening, obviously, to be on a show with the amazing Tim Dog, somebody I followed ever since I jumped in this
Thank you.
community. Man, brother, you know it. You know the respect you've got around here and what you've done in this community yourself, and what you bring, the energy to Twitter, the jokes, all the good times, the celebration. Man, that's what it's about, Tim. That's really what it's
true.
about, right? So that's what this gaming is all about. This is a hobby that's about entertainment and having fun, right? And that's, man, you bring it to the nth degree,
Thank
right?
you.
So appreciate you, brother. Honored to be here. Fuzzy, always, sir. I'm seeing you more and more frequently, Fuzzy, because you're basically a part of the Fun Speculation family now, too. So awesome to be on another show with you, man, after we did Xbox Ultimate last night. Great to be here. This week's been crazy. Super, super busy, but man, this old grazer brain of mine just won't let me settle down. I finished those 3 games, as everybody here knows. Was thinking about, man, I got to get back to looting some more in Tiny Tina's and Godfall. And man, nope, my brain just takes a direct left and goes, yeah, but what about that grand strategy? Like, Crusader Kings 3, we got to jump back into that. And oh, yeah, those great old RTS games on 360. Yeah, let's go do those. So I wound up jumping back into Crusader Kings 3, a little bit of Stellaris 2, which is another fantastic grand strategy space game from Paradox. And then I wound up going out and buying the old Command and Conquers, re-downloading Supreme Commander 2, and I've been hitting up the old RTSs again, and I'm absolutely loving. You know how much I love those, and how much I can't wait to see if this generation they start bringing them back to consoles again. Again, there's a lot of people who complain, say they can't be done on console. They're a PC, genre. Look. It's been done. It's been done on the 360. They still hold up to this day. Bring them all back. Let's get the RTS genre back on console. That's what I'm looking forward to. So I've been having a great week, PTK. Plus, today was a huge Saturday. Had the live in split screen this morning. Then had the Community Indie Showcase 2022, man.
That was amazing.
I had 3 hours wandering Dutch over at Midweek Mix-Up. Put it together. 3 hours of nothing but indie games. Back to back with all these amazing members in the community. What a great show he put on today. It was just awesome, and I was humbled to be a part of that as well. So go check that out when you get a chance later this weekend. It is awesome. You guys want to see gameplay? Go over there and watch that. You'll be amazed how many games you either forgot about or you didn't know about that are coming out this year or next year. Man, what a great day.
Now I'm here. Great job, man. He puts a Herculean effort. Shout out to Dutch into that, man. That's a high production value situation over there. So shout out to Dutch.
Mr. Greenberg showed up. Aaron did a part on it, man. Wandering reached out to him, and Aaron was gracious enough to record a little spot on it too.
Man. That's awesome. Yeah. So awesome. Okay. So appreciate you once again, Pong. The battery of the podcast. You guys know, chat. This show wouldn't be what it is without Pong. We all understand that. So appreciate you, Pong, every single week, bro. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. We already know what you've been doing. This is always a rhetorical question here at the Shop Podcast. Fuzzy doesn't do anything else but drive. We understand that. So, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, I appreciate you, bro. How you been, man? What's been going on? Like we don't know already. So what's been going on?
Well, there's about to be another patch, and have a gut feeling because there's a pretty big exploit right now for grinding money in Gran Turismo. I'm on that money grind to make sure I can get as much as I can before they patch this thing. But other than that, just having fun, watching Twitter, meltdown in some cases. But man, oh man, 250. Man, it's first of all, it's an honor to be on here with Tim Dog from like the early days when I first decided to buy an Xbox and saw him in the trenches. Man, it's been like an uphill battle, but man, it's come along. Just the community as a whole has come a long way, and it's good to see the turnaround and things like that. But man, 250 episodes. I'm just honored to be a part of, some of them and just be welcomed here and be here with my brother and with you and Pong, or PTKU and Pong being, pretty much my extended family, along with, Fun Speculation crew and, Boomstick with all of his shows and things like that. It's just awesome to be a part of this community. But, man, awesome topics. I'm not going to take up too much time. I'll get too mushy. So let's get to it.
Let's dive in, man. You guys know what we do here, man. We appreciate you guys every single week here at the Shop Podcast. Hit the like button, follow if you're not already, subscribe if you have not already. Shout out to the $10 super sticker, Mr. Shon Su, man. Mod of the year, been mod from day one, people. So Shon Su, appreciate you, bro. Everything you provide, you've been in this thing consistent every single week. You're in here moderating, no matter what's going on, bro. So I greatly appreciate you. I owe you a lot too. So thank you so much. We got to give Shon Su a shout out, Wells chat. So make sure you guys do that as well, man. But we're going to go ahead and get it started. We got the poll of the week. You guys know what we do here. Shop Podcast poll of the week. Follow me on Twitter if you have not already. Poll every Monday is up. So support the poll if you want to do that. Go follow me. All of that's down below. So appreciate you guys. So we're talking a little bit about DLC and things like that this week. So all the recent DLC or all the recent talk about what's DLC and what's not DLC has me wondering, which game franchise would have benefited more by having DLC? So I picked two games, pick two big AAA, name brand, face of the actual, console type games. I picked Halo, God of War. Halo, it was a landslide. 90% of people said Halo with DLC would have benefited more than God of War with DLC. Now, once again, either or. There's really no wrong answer in this option, but we'll start with you. Guest of the hour here, Mr. Tim Dog. So, chat, once again, you guys know what we do. What option did you guys choose? What makes more sense? But which one did you choose, Tim? If you voted, if not, what would you choose?
Easy one for me, but I'm kind of biased. Halo. Anything Halo with you can add on, and I think we're seeing that with the community not being as happy as in my opinion they should. I think it's a thing where I think their target is to just kind of go about it where it's going to be steady, but I know the community is not happy with the season 2 and stuff like that. They want a ton of DLC and they want a ton of stuff, and rightfully so because the game is good. I think they nailed it. But for me it would be Halo. But again, I'm kind of a bias. Halo is pretty much my favorite game of all time, or the series itself. But yeah, I know a lot of people with the controversy with the DLC with God of War, and I think for the Sony fans listening, you don't have anything to worry about with the Ragnarok. I think it's going to be very good. It's just a lot of people kind of getting caught up in the semantics of it and all that stuff, and I think they're going to come out and it's going to be an awesome game.
Yeah, I have no doubt. I mean, I think at this point that studio's earned the right to be trusted with that game, with that franchise. I have zero worry about that game at all. I understand some viewpoints, but ultimately it's a phenomenal game. It's in my top 3 favorite franchises and or games of all time for me. So it does vote highly for me as well. So I probably would have picked Halo as well because Halo, we've never had any DLC for Halo ever. I guess the closest we got was ODST, right? If you consider that DLC, you could Air Bunnies, you could do that, right? With ODST, but I don't know. I think the universe is so big with Halo. I say in my opinion, if you include the books, it rivals like a Star Wars size universe. If you really take Halo into totality, so I think if you broaden the spectrum, there's a lot there. I don't know if there's as much story with God of War, based on the scale. God of War is a large game with lots of gods and things going on, but Halo is it's a broad spectrum of stuff going on, from factions to government to different worlds, alien races, stuff happening in the future, the flood, it's so much going on. So let us know what you think. Once again, chat. Let us know, either God of War. Once again, neither choice is wrong. Maybe the option you wanted wasn't there. Let us know in the chat as well. So we're gonna roll with you on this one, Pong. Which option did you choose, bro? Did you vote? If not, which one did you do?
I feel very slighted this week, PTK.
Here we go.
Look, you created a poll that does not include the option of choosing Starfield in any way, shape, or form.
Come on.
I feel very slighted. Okay?
Chat, I'm not dealing with right. This is ridiculous.
Okay, PTK.
All
Look,
right.
Overall, great poll. All right, fair enough. A good choice of 2 games, for sure. Look, Sony fans should be happy they didn't get DLC for God of War, because that DLC is actually turning into Ragnarok. So you know what? That's going to work out in the end for them. God of War on its own did not need DLC. Obviously, we can see what a big, gigantic franchise that is, and how, overwhelmingly that game was just absolutely championed as
Oh,
one of the
absolutely.
best of last generation by most people.
Yep.
So guess what? They won out. They're getting a second game out of it because they did not do what Cory Barlog wanted and make Ragnarok DLC. They said, nope, too big. Go make a full game out of it. Okay, let's go do that. So good on them. But I think the obvious one that would benefit the most, which is what everybody chose, is Halo. Again, just how Halo is set up in particular with what they want to do with Infinite. The DLC is all important, and we're seeing that right now with all the discourse around Halo and around the choices that are being made, currently speaking, because of the position that 343 is in. So look, Halo would obviously benefit greatly from having some DLC to keep people engaged, to stop people from jumping out and jumping back in again, and then jumping out again, because that's not what they wanted for Infinite, right? That's not why you design a games as a service or have a 10-year plan or make it free to play for the multiplayer. You want people playing that game on a regular basis. And right now, they don't have it. Again, Halo's not dead. Halo's going to outlive me. It'll be here long past when I'm dead. But the point being is that right now it's struggling to do what they envisioned Halo Infinite to do. With DLC, they would definitely be having a much greater audience right now than they are currently. Again, it's not in trouble. It's not doom and gloom. It's just what it is. It's going through some troubles right now. That DLC, man, is too important for that type of game. Period.
I mean, once again, you can make a great argument for both sides. I really do understand that point. And we'll get to that. We're actually going to get into that, like, for sure. Dive right in. So let me go ahead and get to you on this one, Fuzz. Make sure I get to you. Once again, chat, let us know what you guys feel about that. Shout out to OCD. Shout out to Dutch in the chat. What's up, bro? How you doing? Once again, phenomenal show earlier. If you guys didn't get a chance, go check out Dutch. I'm sure you can click on his name here in the chat, and that'll pull up his YouTube channel. So go check him out. Put on a phenomenal event earlier. High, value, high quality TV. High quality, show over there. So go show them some support. But Fuzz, where you at on this, man? Which one do you think would have benefited more?
I mean, unless Atreus is going to have his own storyline, which it's seeming like that might be the plan, going forward. Halo has so much more as far as different avenues they can go. I mean, just looking at like what they did with Halo Wars, as far as like some of the story stuff that feeds into Infinite, there's just so many different things that they can do. Given the situation now with like the seasons and things like that, it would have definitely been a nice go-to thing. Although I think all of that stuff is coming. It's just a matter of, man, they got whatever it is that's holding up stuff in the background, which kind of talked about it on Xbox Ultimate. Maybe it's the Xbox One. It really is the anchor at this point. But whatever it is, Halo would have definitely benefited from it, I think, in just in the grand scheme of things. I mean, even if you look back at Halo 5, as much as some people like the story, which I happen to, and finished that campaign, a lot of people didn't, and it's just something they could have continued on, or at least added a few things, or done a few things towards the later half, or continuation of that as DLC, even from Halo 5. But we all know that they were heads down and elbows deep working on Infinite at that point. But Halo by far, there's just so much lore, so many different characters or individuals in the universe for that storyline that would be the one that makes the most sense, and two would probably benefit, just given how much there is as far as to feed content for that game. I think that's the clear answer at this point between those two options. Otherwise, I mean, I go on a tangent on Forza, but we already know that their DLC is coming here probably in the next couple of weeks for Forza Horizon 5. So Can't wait to see what that's about.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be crazy. So we'll get into that. We'll get into that if we got time today. But appreciate you guys. So once again, that is poll of the week, man. That is poll of the week. You always warm up the show. So great warm up chat. Appreciate you guys. Great engagement in there, man. Appreciate Deploy, Zinc, what just happened to him, man. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Hope you guys are enjoying us. 250, man. 250. This is crazy. This is insane. So please. If you guys are enjoying the show, hit the like button. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. So we're moving on. We're talking a little bit about World of Warcraft, right? There was a huge, super gigantic announcement, and it made a big impact in the community because there's a lot of people that have high hopes for World of Warcraft. It's been in a bad place for a very long time. And this announcement seemingly is the start of a completely new mind shift at Blizzard. And this is great. This is great for everyone. I don't know. I think we could assume, Tim, right, that maybe this new energy comes from this Xbox deal. Maybe this new energy to get stuff done, to make this happen when it happened. Maybe it was already going to happen anyway, but go ahead, take it away.
I think honestly, to be honest, I think that it was in place beforehand. In a way, with the new leadership, with some of the new people that they have there, Mike Ybarra, even though they're working on different things, I've heard that they have a lot planned, and this is start of the trickling out of what's coming out. So I do think that you're going to see a push for this, a push for Diablo, a push for some of their other IPs, and as we talked pre-show about how the news has been kind of quiet since the Activision. Again, this just shows you how big this deal is. It goes beyond Call of Duty. It goes to a game like this. This game, if this can even if they can get this to Xbox console, I think I don't know if they can. I think they can. It'll be a welcome addition for me. But I do see that when Xbox does take over, when let's say a year from now, you're going to see some stuff like that dabbled. But from what I heard, though, there's a lot of good stuff in the pipeline, and there's a lot of good things coming. And this was a part of it. And I could say I think it was before the deal. They definitely have a lot of listen, if you have an IP like this, look how big it is. I mean, this at one time was the biggest IP that they owned, and it's still a huge IP. It's a huge subscription. I mean, it's definitely went down in years, and people say it's ruined and stuff like that. But that's always hot takes on games like this. It could definitely have a rebirth, and it could definitely find new players if it comes to console.
It has such a great foundation already. It's hard.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
100%. So yeah, I think the future's bright, and you should keep your eye open. Just for a lot of stuff in Activision, whether the Diablo thing. Like I said, they've acquired a lot of really good talent from Ferguson to Ybarra to other people. They've obviously had their fair share of problems, but when you get a person like Ferguson, and I do believe he's involved with the Diablo franchise, you're going to see some real improvements because he's just super talented. And even with this, I think that you're going to see some surprising stuff, and I'm really curious to see where it goes.
Oh yeah. This is going to be so fun to watch. And once again, it's called World of Warcraft. I believe it's Dragonflight is the name of the actual expansion. There's some other tidbits there, some good classic. I think they're reviving the Lich King, the Lich King, I believe it was, right after the Lich King.
I saw that.
It's getting the old facelift as well, so that's huge for older fans of those OG World of Warcraft players that really enjoyed that great expansion that came out years ago. So just to kind of piggyback off what you said, Tim, and before we move on to Pong here, I'm going to throw something right back at you, Tim, if you don't mind. I'm just kind of curious about going forward. I know you said you feel like this deal in a year or so will be done, maybe sooner, who knows, depending on how the politics play out. So what do you think? Do you think they can get back to that prominent state as far as Blizzard? Do you think this is that first sign that you think they can get back to where they once were as far as being that essentially in the top 1% of played games in the world.
Yeah, I really think that if with the addition of Xbox and with them combining with Xbox, that the path would be different with Xbox than opposed to not. But I do believe that the path with Xbox is better and better for the gamer. I think you might see some games that you wouldn't have seen because of budgetary reasons.
Yeah.
Even they talked about like Guitar Hero, that they couldn't front the hardware costs to
The
make the hardware.
licenses. Oh, okay.
Right, the licenses. Well, no, the hardware, like
Oh, okay.
the
The
guitar. Remember,
perpetuals. Yeah.
yeah, they wouldn't. They said they couldn't fund it, but with under Xbox, you're going to be able to fund it. And I do think that Xbox has a real big plan for Activision and their leadership and where they're going to go with this. And I think it's honestly, I'm very positive about it. Listen, they were in a bad place before this, and the reason why they were sold was because of obviously the things that plagued them, which was a toxic workplace, COTIG. In my opinion, I do feel that Xbox has a big plan in case, and they're probably going to have to present some of that because, or the FTC is going to want some type of assurance that they're gonna, take care of this, that they're gonna have, new leadership, and they're gonna fix the problems that they had. A lot of people have, in the government have said that they want to oversee that. They don't want the problems that they've had, and they're gonna have to fix it. But as far as just your question, not to be too long-winded, I do feel like it's going to be real exciting if it gets under Xbox, because I think you'd see more IPs. Star Force. What is it? What is the one that they have? Star something. I always forget the name of it.
Activision?
Starcraft?
Yeah, it's
Starcraft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I believe that you might see a revivance of that. And you would see different revivals versus what you would if they stayed the same. So I'm really excited, and I know all we are. It's just that the deal is going to probably take a year, and it's going to take even time after that for them to really secure their pathway and their future.
Yeah, and everybody get on the same page. This is a monumental deal, right? This has never happened. There's no blueprint, right? For this.
Huge.
So
Huge.
yeah. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Just once again, you guys showing love here. Caitlin, shout out once again. FSP showing love every week. Shout out to Mav. Mav may pop in here later. Maybe he's creeping. Who knows? Shout out to Caitlin. No hanging out. Toolman, Deploy, everybody. Shout out Zinc in the chat. ATL. What up, brother? I see you down there. So hope you guys are enjoying episode 250. Kick your feet up, get your drink, hang out with us, talking a little bit of gaming here, man. We're talking about this WoW reveal, how it impacts the industry, how it impacts Xbox, and where it's going, where things are going forward for Blizzard. So we're going to throw this over to you, Pong. Get your opinion on, the reveal, and what do you think of just the overall, the DL, not DLC, but the expansion, and then they're bringing it back, the Lich Clean, one of the actual most popular expansions that's come out in recent past here. So where are you at on this? You gonna enjoy this? Something you're gonna buy? What are you looking at here?
Well, if it comes to console, absolutely. But being a non-PC gamer, World of Warcraft, I had tons of buddies playing World of Warcraft. It's crack, okay? It's like Destiny. You see people on Destiny complain, leave, come back again. Say they're never going to play it again, come back again, right? That's what World of Warcraft used to be up until just recently, because they fumbled a lot. They've had a lot of bad expansions that made a lot of people, upset. And, they've been hemorrhaging a lot of players. Not that they're, again, doom and gloom. They still have a huge base of players, right? So they're fine. But it's not up to the standards that World of Warcraft used to be. Final Fantasy 14 took a lot of those players. So they've got some competition now. So this was big for them to come out with an impressive expansion, right? And, kind of piggybacking off what Tim's talking about, they're just, even though the deal's not done, there seems to be a little bit of a lighter step over there, between Blizzard and Activision. When they come out and talk about this stuff and they announce they're making all these announcements.
The energy is
ramping
good.
up. The energy is really different than it
Yeah.
used to be. And I think that they see that light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that World of Warcraft still is a main vehicle going forward for them, obviously. And so to have this big expansion, I mean, who doesn't like riding dragons? Come on, man. Everybody likes dragons. Everybody likes riding dragons. Come on. This is perfect. This is the way you do it. And as long as the story comes out right, as long as that new class entices people enough, and as long as they don't screw up the balancing or they don't screw up the raids, which are ultra important for World of Warcraft, look, they're going to bring people back. People are going to come back in droves to see if they've made enough changes so that they can sit down at their PC and go, this is the old World of Warcraft that I remember.
Mm-hmm.
This is fantastic. We haven't had this in a while. Let's go. Let's get back into this. Call up the old crew, right? Let's get a raid going. That's the way this is going to work. And I think Blizzard, again, presented it well. And I'm excited for the future, like Tim was talking about. And obviously, Tim knows a lot more people than I ever possibly could imagine know. And so he talks to a lot of people, right? But it's always good to hear when Tim talks, because he comes from, we all speculate, right? We're in speculation town all the time. We kind of sit back and talk about that. Tim's got some know, right? And so to hear him talk about the direction going forward once this deal's done, it's something that confirms what we all speculated on, that we all believed that there's a lot of projects underneath those teams over at Activision Blizzard that have not been greenlit because there's no way the investors are going to allow them to put time and resources into them. They're focused on pumping out Call of Duty, pumping out World of Warcraft expansions that weren't ready to keep that money flowing in. They were under the gun at all times. So if this deal goes through as it's expected to, that's going to free all of those projects up. I believe there's probably been a World of Warcraft 2 at some point to at least started, and they probably didn't greenlight it. And I think that's one thing that we could see, and I believe that they would make that with consoles in mind. Yes, I've said here before, they do have controller support for World of Warcraft to use on your PC now. So is it possible they could bring World of Warcraft, this version, to consoles? Absolutely. I think it might be something that's real and legit. It just might not be perfect or exactly, the best experience overall, because they didn't build World of Warcraft for consoles from the first place, right? And it's really tough. That game, I know I was talking about RTSs and how well they can translate to controllers when you do them right. Well, World of Warcraft is on another level with all the hotkeys and stuff that need to happen. Jez talks about this all the time on Xbox too, that he just doesn't know how well it would be done on a controller, because he always says for the regular kind of doing the regular stuff in World of Warcraft, it'll probably be fine. But you get into a raid and you're using one of those support classes that are so incredibly important to the raids to keep your party members alive, to keep your defenses up, all that kind of stuff. Those hotkeys are near impossible to get mapped to a controller because there's so many of them. So that's where he thinks the problem would be. Again, I don't have any personal experience, just going by what other people that do know these things are saying out there. So it'd be interesting to see. I would be excited if they brought it to console. I think it would be a fresh kind of bump, right? Per se, you get an influx of people who would just check it out just to check it out. So why not bring it on console? See how it works out. You can worry about the subscription part of that later, and you can work all those things out. Bring World of Warcraft over. See if you get some people excited, because then when you go ahead and announce World of Warcraft 2, damn, you already got a fan base ready to rock and roll.
Didn't Barra kind of hint at that? I don't know if he didn't he hint, somebody tweeted something and he hinted at, like,
he hinted that StarCraft would be coming back, like Tim said.
Oh, is that
StarCraft,
what it was? Okay.
Yeah, because StarCraft is an IP that never should have been shelved.
Huge.
StarCraft is gigantic.
I remember I played it in probably high school.
You have at its peak, it was one of the biggest, if not the biggest, tournament draw in the entire world.
Yeah, BlizzCon.
Everywhere. Any tournaments they were doing. They're still doing tournaments to this day in Korea on StarCraft. Right?
Oh, I know.
It's crazy. So StarCraft never should have been shelved. And man, that would be one of the first ones we talked about it when this whole deal first got announced, our dreams and our hopes, and StarCraft was one of mine. I want them to bring StarCraft. I want them to bring back the idea that StarCraft Ghost. You remember that, Tim? StarCraft Ghost, the third-person action adventure game that everybody was hyped about, that all of a sudden became vaporware. Bring that back current gen. Oh my! You'd blow up the internet. It would be so amazing.
See,
all these ideas, right, Tim?
Yeah, like I think you bring up a lot of good points. Not to to interject. I just wanted to say it's just like you said, the driving forces for what Activision is on its own versus Activision with Xbox are drastically different. Once it comes to Xbox, it's all Game Pass, okay, and it's PC that they have and the things, but they're not going to be as looked upon by. He talked about Pong, rightfully so, talked about investors, how they wanted the daily Call of Duty. They want all that stuff to the revenue stream to keep on going, whereas the motives change once the company changes. And if you really look at it, and aside from the stupid stuff with the FTC, I really believe that they don't know what the hell they're talking about, and that's the problem. Is that they're clueless, and they really don't know how to look at this as a gamer perspective, like we're looking at it. I think from a lot of levels that if it goes to Xbox, it's going to benefit Activision and gamers in a much better way than if it was on its own the way it was going, because you could have revival of these new IPs. You could have breaks, even though that they have a break. And I do believe what Pong also said. He talked about the light of the thunder. There's no doubt about it. Even though you can't mingle. You have to run it as if you were not acquired and stuff like that. But they do, and Xbox do. It's on the back of their mind, where this could go and how things can change. And I just think, for a gamer's perspective, if Xbox gets it, it's going to be it could be a really good thing. And shit, exclusive aside, like the whole exclusive argument really goes to or multi-platform really goes out the window. If you get these games day one on Game Pass, who really cares what else goes on? You could have you could have the whole legacy of Call of Duty, and then you get that Game Pass day one. That in itself is worth its gold, and that's why I think Xbox fans in general should not really go crazy if Call of Duty is on PlayStation, because does it really matter? Does it affect your case? And if it makes it easier for them to get the deal go through, by God, get the deal done. But I do think there is a chance that this might get knocked down, guys. So we can't be 100% sure. There's politics involved. There's a lot of bullshit involved. You saw tweets that government officials making. And let me tell you, they don't know anything. They don't know metaverse, and that's where it gets scary. When you have ignorance and you have just politics playing, anything can happen. A lot of showmanship can happen, and a lot of stuff could just happen just to make a point, and it could be a negative point, like, hey, look, we're the government now. We stepped in and we knocked down this, this $1 trillion company down to size for people, for competitive platform, that type of stuff. So just gotta hold your breath.
Yeah. But then they'll go to the courts, Tim, right? And the courts will decide.
100%. They gotta fight it, because legally speaking, I've talked to Hoag's Law, I talked to Pactor on this. I've talked to so many people. They really don't have a case. You don't have a case for monopoly. You don't have a case for, they say the workplace. You're better off getting a new workplace if your workplace is toxic, or changing leadership. And all that stuff is going to be discussed.
It's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. I think they have a really strong case. And I think Satya believes that it's a strong case. And when I say Satya, the reason why I say him is because if he feels like it was, knocked down for some political BS and stuff like that, they're going to go right to court and say, you know what, this is going to be heard. And I think they'll win. just to be another year of year of
Yeah.
waiting.
And
Yeah.
and just before you go from my bad. So
Don't worry.
I always argue that this was the best way for things to happen, right? Like, so people, we understand where I think we all get where Activision Blizzard was going before Xbox stepped in. Like, that's pretty clear, right? I think we're
Yeah.
all like, we get where that shit was going nowhere good, right? Right down the drain. Long, court
100%.
appearances after court appearances after lawsuits, and a bunch of nonsense with a bunch of games not coming out, but getting one Call of Duty, 2 Call of Duties a year. That was it. So this is the best way for things to happen. Even people that oppose the idea of this happening, if for anything, this is the quickest way to get Kotick out rather than try and fight him in court for 5, 6, 7 years, and the board keep him
Exactly.
around as long as they possibly can. Just pay him, get him the hell out of there. Give him his money, get him out of there in about 18 months, and everything, and you get the work environment, you get a great company. It's not infringing upon any laws. There's no monopoly issues. It works for everybody, right? So I don't know. I've always thought this was the best way, like outside of just
100%.
fighting him in court, for all of this to happen simultaneously.
And it really is, and I think that's a fair point that you make. It really is, and I think it's a sincere point. It's just like I said, you never know when politics get involved, and that's just the sad part of it. I'm not gonna go into any of that stuff, but when that happens, you just got to realize that something could happen. Or something, a person trying to make a name for themselves. And the thing is like I said, I don't really, you're going to tell me these people know what a metaverse is. I don't even think anybody knows what metaverse is right now. And this is the stuff that they're actually arguing about and, talking about being, a place in the marketplace where we can't even define it right now. So real tough to make a case against Xbox.
Correct. And that's why the courts are there, right? So when the government steps out of bounds, that's why the government doesn't have like hey, this isn't going through and, Microsoft can't do anything about it. That's why they get to go to the courts, right? Because when the government tries to step outside how the laws are currently written, whether they like them or not, they still have to follow them. And that's where the case will be made, is in the courts, and the courts will fix it. And hopefully, if it came to that, would obviously see exactly what Tim's talking about inside with Microsoft at that point. But be that as may, I'll just end with this. To Tim's points again about how much this is worth to Xbox and Microsoft. Again, having all these devs in a good place, that's another big part of this. The human beings that are there that have suffered, that have had to go through hell and back again underneath that current leadership. This is fantastic for them. And we're not talking about a small group of individuals. We're talking about 10,000 talented people that will now be underneath the Xbox, Microsoft umbrella in a good place with a company who is going to work to correct the wrongs of the past, to bring their own philosophy, which we've seen has got nothing but praise over these past years, into their workspace and make their lives better. And you know what? It's going to free up all that talent. That talent is not going to be under, the stress of the investors, like Tim said, because that's a different story when you're underneath Microsoft. Again, yes, they need revenue streams. Of course, that's a business. But at the end of the day, they don't matter that if a Call of Duty comes out every year. They don't matter if they need Toys for Bob's working as a support studio instead of working on their own IP or one of the back IP, right? All that talent is going to be freed up. So on top, like Tim said, I could care less about the exclusivity too. Having it in Game Pass is going to be great. All the known quantities that we already have out of Activision Blizzard, that's going to be fantastic. But those unknowns, when that talent gets freed up, Phil already talked about it. One of his first interviews, he was getting excited about that back catalog and talking to the different teams, seeing what they wanted to work on. That new IP or that old IP that they bring back to life again after all these years, that's what's really going to be awesome in Game Pass and on Xbox, because we are going to reap the benefits as the gamers on that side of things. That's what I'm excited for. I can't wait.
And this is a very underrated. Before we get to you, Fuzz, I want to make sure we dive in here, but Call of Duty is back in Xbox ball. That ball is back in Xbox court now, like legitimately, and it's never going back the other way. As far as now, the game will still be played. And once again, I don't care. And the whole Call of Duty being an exclusive thing is weird. Because a week before, 24 hours before this deal happened, nobody cared where Call of Duty was played. I could have played Call of Duty on my refrigerator and nobody would have cared. Like nobody cared where Call of Duty was at all.
Yeah,
so I don't understand this energy about Call of Duty has to be on Xbox exclusively, has to be. No, we did not care 24 hours prior. I did not care where the next Call of Duty was going. So I'm not trying to pretend or have any of that fake energy because, ultimately I could care less about COD exclusivity. But once again, having COD marketing, didn't they grab in this deal? You get MLG as well, right?
Yes,
MLG is part of that deal. You get MLG as well.
Also, that's just another thing. You get the game will be developed for PC first. So right now, I believe it's developed on PS5, then ported to PC. So lead development will switch back, I'm sure, to Microsoft, and that means they could use some of the technology that they have, and Sony doesn't, VRS 2.0 and stuff like that, to leverage the Xbox Series X.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, Fuzz, I want to get
it's
you
a slam dunk.
Yeah, no, for sure, absolutely.
No, but I'll start off with the World of Warcraft expansion part. That's huge, just in general. That the whole energy of Blizzard actually doing stuff and not pissing people off with mobile game apps and things like that. It's huge. Just seeing them going back to, I won't say back to work, but back to the stuff that the fan base loves is awesome. And you guys are right. There is light at the end of the tunnel. So and they can see it, and they're walking differently accordingly. So it's good to see that they're making announcements about the expansions and that they got other stuff that's cooking that's now actually in motion, as opposed to being put on hold because half the staff
they were on the back burner and the eye was off. The eye was turned off. There was no heat, no nothing, man.
No pilot light, nothing.
Nothing. That stuff was off.
But yeah, it's just funny to me as far as it not getting into the politics aspect, but everybody on the outside looking in that wants this deal to collapse or doesn't want this deal to happen. And I've said this before. It's like, that doesn't mean that Call of Duty doesn't still go to Microsoft or Xbox. Because let's think about it. If this deal doesn't go through, the stock of Activision Blizzard was already kind of tanking to some extent. It's going to take a nosedive. And sure, they'll get that $3 billion from Microsoft because the deal didn't go through. That's not going to do anything for most of those employees. There's going to be a lot of people either laid off or, they're going to go through a bankruptcy, which just means, a lot of those IPs are going to be sold off. And who has all the cash to buy up those IPs real quick? The same person that's trying to buy the building as is. So I would say for a lot of those that don't want the deal to go through, be careful what you wish for. But I just can't imagine now at this point it not going through, even if it means, going through the checks and balance system with the courts and stuff like that. But I mean, hey, Amazon has done it before, and the FTC was like, "Yeah, we don't have money for to stay in court with Amazon." So, and Microsoft has more money than Amazon. So, yeah. But all things aside, just in general, Blizzard, Activision are in a much better place, and the direction that they were going before, like you said, days before, nobody cared where COD was playable as long as you could play it, and as far as things before, if you look at Activision's actions with Kotick at the helm, layoffs were always that threat. It's like, oh, you did a project and it's selling well, but we need to lighten the pay or the workbooks or the the balance books a bit, and they lay off like thousands of people shortly after. And it's like, not to say that Microsoft never lays off people, but it's not going to be based on the numbers of this most downvoted Call of Duty, or everything is on the table for Call of Duty, and Call of Duty doesn't hit the 20 million in the first weekend and only hit 11 million. the repercussions are usually troublesome as far as for anybody that they check their email to see if they're getting the electronic pink slip type of thing. But in the grand scheme of things, moving forward, Activision, Blizzard, they're heading in the right direction now, just for the fact that there is an actual opportunity in the future and it's on the horizon type of thing where, under Microsoft, they're going to be focused on making content for Game Pass or just content in general for the whole, Microsoft gaming division. And that all of that moving forward puts them in a better spot, because shareholders of Microsoft only really worry about how Azure is performing. And that's, unless Amazon finds a pretty hefty investor to kind of double up some more, I don't think there's going to be any issue with Azure consistently printing money for the shareholders for Microsoft. But man, look forward to hopefully this deal getting wrapped up at the end of the year. Would love World of Warcraft and definitely StarCraft to come to console.
Yeah, for sure.
StarCraft Ghosts. We don't have enough sci-fi games out right now. Like, we talk about this resurgence of racing games and fighting games, like like Street Fighter's back and King of Fighters is updated and in a much more playable state than what 14 was and stuff. But yeah, I would love to see more sci-fi, more space involved games and things like that. Just I don't know. It would be an awesome future looking forward as far as Blizzard on some of their games on console, and controller support. Great. We need more controller support for RTSs. I agree with Pong on that. Wouldn't mind if they had it where it was like keyboard and mouse only section in the store, but that just creates too much confusion.
Yeah. No, once again, there's a lot of flexibility here, and this is just us talking out our ass, by the way, people. Like, this can go a lot of different directions. There's a lot of time left, for this thing to get done. Like Tim said, I mean, we have to heed a little bit of caution with this, right? There's a lot of things that can happen, but I'm pretty confident. I feel like Xbox is pretty confident. I feel like Sati is pretty confident, and I think they can definitely tell. I think they feel good about this going through. I'll say that. Obviously we don't have a crystal ball, Tim. We can't say for sure, but I think they feel really good about it going forward. So. Once again, chat, you guys are amazing. You guys are awesome. Moving on to the next topic here. We're talking a little bit about a Halo, and this is gonna get a bit mucky, Tim. I wasn't sure about if I wanted to even like if I wanted this to be a thing today. Really, because it gets a bit mucky. Now Halo announced season 2. And there's a lot going on,
6
right?
months.
The 6 months long. People aren't excited about that. People aren't excited about some of the game modes. A lack of some content. Story type content as well. None of that. No DLC type content planned at least till November. We don't know what's happening after November. Maybe there's some coming out until then. But one thing I do know, and I want to just get this out the way, Tim. If you guys don't understand the Halo community, this encapsulates the entire Halo community. They've always been this way. So I just wanted that disclaimer. 100%. I just want to throw that out there. They've always been. This is not anything different. The Destiny community is very similar. They've never been unified in regards to anything Halo. So I'm not surprised. Now, this does not absolve 343 of certain things, though. I don't want to. Let's be clear on that as well, because I think there are some decisions and some things that have happened behind the scenes that are. The fruit, that tree is not bearing the type of fruit that I thought it would.
Right.
And we'll get into that too, Tim. I'm sure you'll dive in. But where are you at on this, Tim? Where are you at on just ultimately the season 2 itself? And then what do you think about the just general reaction in the community?
The community. Well, listen, like you said, the community, this is the community in a nutshell to me. I'm never playing Halo again. I'm done with it. Goodbye. 343 sucks. Next day, something's announced. Making a video. They got 3 more things. Can't wait to play it. I'm going to be there day 1. I mean, listen, the community is a tough one. It's definitely a tough one. They do have some valid gripes. What happened with Halo is that they had an insane crunch to make Halo Infinite by the date that they did. And right after they launched it, and it actually was a success. 87 Metacritic. Campaign was pretty good. Free to play was doing well. they had a twofold. They lost a lot of contractors, and then a lot of the workers that were there left were physically exhausted, needed time. So what you're seeing right now with the slow growth and what the community is saying, not enough content or the slow dripping, is basically they're trying to reinforce themselves to get the steady flow of content to come where it will make the community happy. Now there is some blame probably there, and 343 deserves to take some, but I do believe that you do also have to realize that that's part of you have to kind of see the landscape here. They do really have a long, and I've heard this. We talked about people, how sometimes I've talked to some people. I've heard that the roadmap is absolutely really filled to the gills. So there's a lot of stuff coming. It's just the amount of time to make it. You have the endless coming. But the second season, a lot of people are upset that it's only 3 months to 6 months. In there, you got co-op. A lot of people say it should have been there at launch. That had a lot of problems with Xbox One, and certain technical problems that they had to fix. Co-op Forge is supposedly starting, and they have a bunch of other stuff coming. 2 maps, 3 modes. Is it light? Yeah. But do I think that they're getting killed a little bit too much? In my opinion, yeah. Do I think that a lot of people will be happy the first month or so with Halo? Yeah, then they'll start going, and then the numbers will start going down, and everyone's going to be waiting for what's on season 3. But they mentioned that they have to do it in a healthy way, and they can't do the crunch. And for me, I'm empathetic or sympathetic to that, because I have heard what was going on, and I don't think it's that suck. I just think that they really kind of maybe you could say crunched it to the point where they didn't have they kind of mismanaged the way that they I guess could scale their workers or to scale the workforce, because they used a lot of contractors. And you saw like the post certain Infinity, they talked about Halo. There's going to be a ton of stuff coming. I just kind of don't like it when people in the community say Halo's dead, the game's finished, it's over with. When if they come up with the next hottest thing in season 3, or Forge is absolutely insane, things that are possible, those are the same guys that will be making money off of it, making content, creating content, and showing everything. And these are the same guys that were bashing it. And I get that they want to get a certain, response, but I do think that they're being listened to. But it's just like you said, it's always been this way. And
that's tough, man.
They're tough. They're tough,
tough,
and that's the bottom line.
And another thing too, let's be honest. And once again, there's some things that I'm only making so many concessions for 343, right? Like, let's be fair here. There are some things that we can talk about and get into, and I'm sure Pong and Fuzz will highlight those things as well. But this is new territory for Halo. This is uncharted waters, as far as this free to play open world situation. But I do think that it's a good start. I do think that, the content is a little light, but if you're speaking from a DLC standpoint, now I did see some people in chat, and I don't know if you would. I saw some people in chat, Tim, and I don't know if you would agree with this. Some people were saying it's a lot of PC guys as well, kind of being upset about where things are at. I don't know if you can confirm that as well.
Yeah. Well, you see most of the, everyone's pointing out Steam numbers and stuff like that, where the majority of the gamers really are on Xbox, and on Xbox it's pretty still up there with most played games. It's not like it's like totally out of the picture. And
it's at number 4.
I do see that. Yeah, so people don't want to talk about that. You know what I mean? They just want to talk about the bad Steam numbers. And you also have people that just want to see the game die that aren't even playing it. I hate to say that. But yeah, it's been a rough go of it. I have to say that, and I do think that there is some valid criticism, but I also think that if you reality, these gamers that we see that are complaining, they could care less about people being overworked and that type of thing. They just want the content, and that's fair to a point. But you also, if you're really looking at it, and you really looked at what they said, they kind of just pleaded for more time when they said we need to do it in a healthy way. But maybe it's because I know that they're going to have a ton of shit coming, and it's just taking time that I'm confident with it. And people get on me all the time about this because I'm kind of, I take the more empathetic, I guess,
long approach.
way of
thinking.
thinking.
You take the long,
I take the long approach. Right, and I just the people approach to it. I just think that they just need to. They've listened to things. I just think that they need to get there. And if season 3 comes out and they're bare bones, then yeah, I think you really could really start to say, this has been mismanagement. Maybe there needs to have people looked at. But right now, they gave you a good campaign. Everything, the foundation of the game is amazing, and I think that's where the frustration is too. The game is awesome. They just want more content. They want, they want 10 maps.
I need
and stuff.
that. Yeah,
exactly. And it's going to take time. And if you're willing to wait, I think that you'll be happy. But if you're not, it is what it is. It's just, it's going to go on the way it is. I don't think that they're going to force anything, but I don't think Halo's going away, and I don't think it's doing as horrific as people are saying. Again, it's top 4. You said that's even surprise to me. And Xbox is the lion's share of players.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm sure Pong will get into this with his opinion too. So just one quick point here, people. So ultimately, like I said, with Halo, I do agree with you on that point about just the story aspect and what they've built. So I this is the first, like when I first dove in, I think it was shout out to Keasante. When I first dove in, I was maybe 30 minutes into Halo Infinite, and I hit him up. He was online. I hit him up. He jumped in a party chat, and he's like, "What you think?" First thing I thought of was, man, it's so fun to play in this open world, right? Like I want to do that more. You know what I'm saying? Like they built such a great world, and I think it's almost a victim of itself, right, Tim? In a way, like the open world is so explorable. Yes. It's something that we've never had. As a Halo fan, I've never had this. I've never been able to do this stuff. Climb up these mountains and take pictures and do all this crazy stuff and all this verticality and the hell. I've never been able to do that. I want to do that more. Like that, and that's okay, right, Tim? Like that's a valid
100%. 100%. And co-op, listen, people say it should have been there at launch. I agree, but the supposed thing on co-op is that they had a real problem with the memory of Xbox One being a part of it because of tethering of, you're going to have 4 players, and let's say one person on the map is way back and you're way ahead. That becomes a problem, the proximity. And I heard technical difficulties were on there, that they were trying to get that squared away. Put it this way, I think the amount of content you're going to get from Halo is going to come to a point where 3 years down the line or two years down the line, you might see where Xbox One X and Xbox One is not supported only through cloud, where they actually move to just next gen only development for the game and the live service. I could see that happening too. I mean, I think you always play the live service, but maybe new maps are going to be next gen only. They supposedly, I know it's a laugh 10-year plan, but they do have a crazy roadmap for it, and it's doing well. And people who say it's not doing well, they need to get their heads checked. 20 million players in a short amount of time is absolutely crazy. And I just think it's something where we'll look back. How many times did people say Sea of Thieves was dead? and then it got its anniversary
Oh, dude,
update, and
crazy.
everyone else was back
Yeah.
on it. So it's
Yeah.
just that's the way it goes.
No. So go ahead. It's on you, Pong.
Well. Again, as everybody knows by now, I have no horse in this race. I'm a casual Halo fan. I don't have the emotional attachment to that, people like Tim do. So I come from that perspective. I always let everybody know that up front because, again, my opinions are from the outside looking in, right? I want Halo to succeed for all the fans because I've been there with games in the past that I absolutely love that haven't turned out right or just haven't met expectations. And it's a bummer, especially when you wait for a very long time, right? And so I want Halo to be everything it should be for this huge, very loyal fan base, even if they are grumpy, even if they complain a lot and express themselves loudly, portions of that fan base. Look, they still deserve the best Halo Infinite game possible out of this. And so when I look at this, and I also want them to be successful because I want Halo Wars 3. Tim, tell them I want Halo Wars 3, please. Get that
So
back
do
on the
I.
table.
So do I.
Okay,
I will
good.
too. I
Then we're
want
on the same
to.
page. So for me, look, looking from the outside in, Tim obviously again knows better than a lot of people in the community ever would about what's going on in there and hears things and talks to people and stuff. So I defer to him on that. From the outside looking in, I feel that this is a missed opportunity. This is not doom and gloom. Okay, Halo's not dead like Tim said. Those people you can just ignore because that's ridiculous. Again, Halo will be here long past the point that I'm alive. Okay, Halo's around forever. This is that type of franchise. It's that type of name, and people will come back in droves as they add things to this game. My point in the beginning when we talked about your poll, PTK, was the vision is not being met, however, for what they wanted Infinite, even from the get-go. And I think that 343 would admit that, right? They've stumbled. Like they did everything. Like Tim said, they did so much to get this thing out the door after that year delay, right? They did everything they possibly could to get this thing out the door. And then there was a big sigh of relief. And we got, we obviously got Joseph Staten out here saying, hey, everybody's going to take a break, but we'll be back at it. We need to get, everybody's on the team's health back, make that a priority, all that kind of stuff. We heard all that, and that's fantastic. That's ultra, ultra important when you do this. But then the missteps kind of started. And I think that, Halo, while it gets more criticism than fair, the expectations for Halo are different from almost every other single game out there because of what it is and what it means and how big it is. And because there's always been a campaign, always been a multiplayer, both of them very important. Obviously, the multiplayer is what carries Halo in engagement, but the campaign is beloved and always has been. And so it gets different expectations put on it than any other game. But in reverse, Halo also does get more passes than a lot of games because if this was a brand new IP and it stumbled like this these days with all the competition out there, bro, we would be talking about potentially a dead game at this point. But because it's Halo, they do get extra time. It's just how much time. Again, I think it's unlimited because I'm in the firm belief that no matter, even if it takes 3 years and they finally get it right, we saw that with the MCC collection, right? Once they get it right, people come back in droves and play it. My point, though, is with this one, Halo Infinite, how they set this up, this is a totally different business model and game model from what they normally do with Halo. And they envisioned not just the fanatical fan base that is Halo coming in and playing it. They knew they had that no matter what game they were going to do. What they envisioned was grabbing more and more people, casual people on the outside looking in to come join the Halo experience, get in that multiplayer, get into those battle passes, season passes, right? And start, generating. They wanted a bigger, wider audience. And with these stumbles, what's happening is, again, like I said, the fans are jumping in and then jumping out, and then jumping back in, and then jumping out again. And I think I said it before that they talked about the details on season 2. I said the one thing they really couldn't do would be to have another 6-month season. And they did. Okay. So that is extremely disappointing. The co-op stuff we
Yeah.
already knew was going to be delayed. Again, I'm waiting to jump back in once there's co-op. I want to play co-op with 3 other people. It's going to be an absolute blast. That is something that should have been there day one. It's not. It's coming. That's fine. That's going to draw some more people in. But the 6-month season with only 2 maps in this day and age, when you've got all these other games out there that have been doing this, showing how it's done, that's my biggest issue with this. Is like they knew what they were jumping into. It's not like they're trying something brand spanking new. Sure, it's new for Halo, but they've got all these other games that showed them how this had to go to make it successful from day one and to keep that engagement. And it seems like they just, again, for whatever reason, Tim brought up some really great points. And again, I'll defer to him on those points. They don't have the staffing to make that a reality right now.
Yeah.
And it's some issues that are, again, when people, the average consumer or somebody looking on the outside in looks and goes, how many maps did they drop for 2 maps? What?
Yeah.
I'm going to play 2 maps. You know what I'm saying, Tim? It's tough.
Yeah.
And again, I totally get it. And they have the time. Yeah, go ahead.
I think you make some really good points, and better than me, I think that you highlighted this the best way when you say it is a missed opportunity. If they had their ducks in a row and they had like 7 maps, the community would be absolutely loving it, and it'd be a huge hit. So yeah, I maybe I am being a little bit soft on them, but I do realize that, yeah, that's what I think is the best way to describe this right now. It's becoming a missed opportunity because, let's be honest, the gameplay, they nailed it. It's awesome playing it. And 2 in 6 months is definitely not a good number. But I do think that, as you said, because it's Halo, they do buy themselves a little time. And with season 3, they got to get their act together. They got to get ray tracing there too. I'm kind of upset that that's not there.
Do you think that's even going to come honestly, realistically? Tim, do you think that's going to come?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's going to come. It's just going to take time. But I honestly, realistically looking at it and being fair, and where, saying that they just don't get a free pass, this is a huge missed opportunity because you have so many people wanting to play the game and pissed off because they're only playing a small chunk of it. And again, this is part of the restructuring of the game and how screwed up the development was. They dodged a huge bullet. If they had released the game the way it was and the way it was structured, because they did, I heard, restructure it into 2020, I think that you're looking at like a 75 Metacritic disaster. Yeah. They had to get the campaign right. They had to get the visuals better than what they were. They did all that, but they kind of exhausted themselves to the point where when all of it was done, they had, 5,000 soldiers left on the battlefield, and all of them are like below health, like low health. You know what I mean? And they need a real big infusion. And all I could say is that, the fans are being listened to. I think that actual Xbox brass had talks with Bonnie, and some reassurances were made there. And I do think the little stuff that you see, like the certain affinity posts, and the certain stuff there, they realize that they probably have a missed opportunity here, but they also kind of know maybe in a way that it's Halo, and people will just, no matter what, they'll say that they're never playing this game again. They'll swear up and down, and
the destiny of
say
this
exactly. If we're looking at, there's so many games at this generation that have come out. Look at like Rainbow Six Siege, completely flat.
Right.
Didn't fuse later on.
Yeah,
so
true.
That can happen. Once again, I know what it's gonna sound like, right, chat? Like I get it. I know people watching on the outside looking at, oh, you guys are making excuses for Halo. That's not necessarily the case.
Right.
I'm not giving like I don't think we've given Halo any concession yet. I think we've all highlighted the issues, that 343's had. I think, and they're clear issues. And I think anybody with two sets of eyeballs that actually work can see that. So I don't think we're giving any passes here. In regards to what we're talking about.
No,
But
everybody wants Halo to be the best, right? Everybody does,
exactly,
outside of
yeah.
one, bit of fanboys that would like to see it go away. Look, everybody wants to see Halo succeed. Again, it's a pillar of the industry. Okay, this is one of the greatest franchises to ever come out of video gaming. Period. That's coming from a casual Halo fan. Again, I can be real about that. When you look at what Halo did and changed the industry, this is one of those names you never want to see it go away, and you always want to see it at its best. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to wind up happening come hell or high water, because I know Phil's not going to let this not get fixed. And we saw it again with MCC. It came out in a terrible state. They spent so much time and resources to fix MCC because they knew they could not tarnish that Halo legacy with a broken game. So again, nothing's going to change here. They're going to continue to work on Halo Infinite. They're going to get it right. It's just about the time frame and how we're going to get there that's really up in the air right now. There really is not a true roadmap. I know, Tim, you said there's a huge roadmap and it's exciting, but it's nothing public, right? So it's really hard to see through the fog sometimes when you don't have any guiding light in any way, shape, or form, and you kind of going, I don't know where they're going with this. But there's so many opportunities here. We haven't even talked about campaign expansions, all that kind of stuff that they can do that will instantly excite the fan base. And hopefully when the fan base finally does get on board and is able to consistently enjoy content out of Halo Infinite, that will start to spread to that casual fan base that they envisioned bringing in when they created this. And I think that will happen. Now there's a couple, I'll just end on this. There's a couple things there that could really happen. The certain affinity thing. I think that obviously they realized internally a while ago that there was no way, with how much effort was being put in by 343 and other teams that they pulled in to help out to get this game out the door, that they would ever have an opportunity to be able to work on this whole separate mode. I think that that's when they said, certain affinity, what are you guys doing? You guys want to come work on Halo Infinite and create a whole new mode for us? I think that's why you heard Jez talk about it being 2 to 2.5 years ago that certain affinity started this. That could be a huge deal. They need to show this mode as soon as they are ready to show it, because that will give people some hope, some light at the end of the tunnel, a little pathway through the fog, and say, I'm looking forward to that. Because think about this. That mode is basically going to be Halo Infinite's Warzone. And if certain affinity can pull it off right and make the fan base excited, because again, when Warzone first was announced, a lot of the regular Call of Duty shooter people, the regular multiplayer people kind of poo-pooed Warzone and said, I'm not going to go play that. Yeah, guess what happened, everybody? Warzone became, in a lot of ways, bigger than the regular Call of Duty multiplayer. That's what this potential is in this. Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's not even close now, yeah.
Certain affinity is no stranger to multiplayer games. Those people have a ton of experience between Call of Duty, Halo. They've helped out on some of the biggest multiplayer games out there. 2016. Doom.
I think
that needs to be a studio that, after this Activision Blizzard's done, got to be first on the list.
100%.
I said it. I put up.
They might be able to. Yeah, they might be able to buy them without going through regulation, because if you buy a company for under 104 million, you don't have to, you're not subjected to it. So especially if the mode kicks off and it is what we think it could be, they'll buy them.
Yeah, that would be pretty much Xbox's Blue Point, right? Is that what we're saying?
In a lot of ways, but they're also and they're also working on that supposedly working on that Monster Hunter.
Yeah, the Monster Hunter like
AAA, their
first
big big AAA game for Xbox as well. Look, that's as organic as it gets right there with certain affinity. So go get that done. But anyways, that mode could be huge, and I think that they should show that off as soon as possible. If they are ready to show any glimpse of it during the showcase, I would do that. And then Tim, I'll let you go. Just
100%.
my last point, so we can move on to Fuzzy and get his thoughts, is that the Forge coming out in beta that late is also a disappointment, right? Forge could have a huge impact. We've seen some of the most creative stuff come out of Forge and other modes like that in other games because the community is ridiculous when it comes to that. They can create some of the best content out there, which can fill some of the void. So I was kind of disappointed that's coming to beta. What I would do if I was 343, if I was Phil and making the decisions, I would get that Forge beta, even if it's not the full tool set yet. I would get that out to as many of the most creative people that worked on Halo Forge from the community that worked on the Forge and created maps for MCC and all that kind of stuff back in the day. I would get it into as many hands as possible and let them go to town. And if something great comes out of it, man, give them credit, put them in the credits. I don't care what you got to do, but you release a community playlist like you've always done in your other Halos and start getting that going. Even if it's only a beta version of that tool set, have some of the best community work on that and get some more content out in the meantime too. That would be my other idea, is kind of fill in the blanks that we have right now.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tim.
No, I just want to say, just make really, really solid points. Even better than myself, I feel like I think that you kind of nailed it with the missed opportunity and something. And I also want to hear Fuzzy what he has to say. But I just wanted to give you the props on that, like really well thought out, and some of the stuff that I didn't even think myself that they should do. But I think we're all in agreement, and I think when we hear what Fuzzy has to say, they got to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah. No, absolutely. They got to do something. Yeah, they need to do. And it's not. And once again, I don't want to do the doom and gloom thing. I'm not that kind of person. I understand what Halo is. Now, this is the crazy thing, right? Think about this, Tim. Think about this. Chat, think about this. As bad as Halo is, you would say Battlefield is worse. Call of Duty is worse. Think about the current state of those two. Dude, listen, I guarantee you EA would swap out Halo's problems for Battlefield's in a second. Yeah. Like the issues that Halo are having are nothing compared. Battlefield ate itself. We watched it eat itself. Like
they shot themselves in both feet.
Yeah, in both feet. Right? And then walked into the courthouse and said, "Yeah, I did it," and handed the gun to the judge.
That was straight up due to poor management.
Yeah, like ridiculousness.
That was straight up.
Threw it away. They threw the game in the trash. All right, we're gonna do this DLC, but we're not really even working on the game. We're already working on the next one. So yeah, whatever. So ultimately, and that's really just to put everything in context, Tim, just to kind of look at the landscape and the actual competition of Halo, they're in a pretty favorable spot in compared to the other two. So I do want to hear your opinion, Fuzz. So go ahead and dive in, brother.
Well, I don't think I can express it any better than what Tim and Pong have already done. The one thing I was thinking just in the background while they were going over that is, we've seen how Microsoft Studios have grown and how they've, put out ads on both social media and various other places, recruiting devs. And I don't recall seeing quite that same effort for 343. And we talk about how a lot of it was contract work, which I understand, especially considering the pandemic and whatnot. Contract work was probably the easier path or the better approach, at least at that point in time, given the conditions of how things were. But I've seen like Obsidian, advertised greatly. I've seen Compulsion advertised greatly. I've seen Undead Labs advertised greatly. Playground Games. Maybe I'm blind because I'm not always looking. No,
you're right. You're right.
I haven't seen them, out there saying, "Hey, are you interested in creating, an unbelievable, universe for Halo or something along those lines?" I haven't seen them really push that, and I think that's if there's any, I guess, big issue. I mean, yes, on the surface, not having the content what people were hoping would be there at this point in time, or for like the time period that they were looking for, I understand. It is like you guys said, it's a missed opportunity, but hopefully, with Certain Affinity working with them for all these years and things like that, and doing this battle royale or BR mode to some extent for a while now, that stuff's coming, just like it did with Sea of Thieves. A lot of people were like, "Oh, it didn't have
Mhm.
all the content in launch," but nobody will dare say that now. Looking at all the stuff that you can do, it's. I think my thing is, I just hope they look at what some of the other Microsoft studios are doing to get new recruits in there, get more talent in there, get more hands
You know,
and eyes and whatnot in this in chairs, because especially with them transitioning to in person now, that they really need to do that push. I mean, they probably have what they need at the moment, but I would like to see them
you,
go even further, because there's just so much stuff that they can go with this 10-year
you
plan.
know what it is, Fuzzy. Just not to interrupt you.
No,
100%
no, go ahead.
right on the button. They haven't been hiring. You know why that is? The reason why is they're already extremely large. They're like 600
Ah,
deep. So I don't think that they want to oversize the studio. But great points there. Transitioning on the contracted work out
yeah.
100%. If they had dedicated workers, like you said, and more of them, we wouldn't be in this position.
Yeah, because I would love to see more like DLC content as far as for like the mainline story, continuing the campaign. We know it's coming,
Yeah.
but they could do so much as far as like we had talked about, just like pie in the sky dream stuff, like the flood in like a horror type, lights out type of ring thing, where it's like, all right, you're on one of the Halo rings where it's just you and versus the flood basically, and you're going from point to point to try to like rebuild these bases, or at least get all of the lighting and power sources and stuff back online. But I mean, just in general, I hope everything works itself out here in the next few months, and I'm pretty sure. Like I call it the Destiny effect. It's the same thing with the Division. Although I'm a little bit more mad at the Division for the fact that it seemed like they completely abandoned it for a while. Now they're coming back around to it, but it's it's one of those things. They hopefully moving forward, they have all their ducks in a row to kind of get things on a better pace or a better flow from here on out. But 6 months, yeah, definitely a missed opportunity. But I think at this point, especially given the fan feedback, I'm pretty sure they're going to buckle down and get this thing figured out before
Yeah.
season 3 gets announced, and make sure that they can kind of get on a track or a schedule that makes sense for the long term.
No, I once again, I do think that they've earned a bit of time here, and I do think that time that it helps that the other two games that are direct comparisons or direct competition are in such a state that they are in as well. But there are other games coming out as well. That's another thing that they need to be aware of, right? Because Xbox has so many IPs now, that we are going to move on and play other things. As great as Halo is, they do have to be aware of that, right? You don't have a lot of time, right? You don't have as much time as you probably normally would have, considering what's coming out. Starfield's November, right? Like,
Yeah.
people are probably going to be playing that. If it ends up being generational, how many people are going to be thinking about Halo at that point in time, right?
Did you say
Around
if?
November.
Did you
Oh,
say
well,
if?
oh God.
When it is generational? Yes. TK.
See this, Tim? I got to deal with it
Well,
anytime I mention anything.
well, you know what? I'll give him this, and I've been very what's the word? The same way overhyped or whatever you want to say. But the reason why I've been that way is from the things that I've heard. And I'm not saying that I'm like this big mouthpiece, but I do talk to some people that maybe have a little more knowledge than others. And shit, when they talk about this game,
Talk to me, Tim.
the,
Talk to me.
Oh God! See,
the
look.
praise,
Oh my God! You're
I've
feeding
created
right
a
into this.
monster.
Yeah,
But
This
listen,
monster was
he's
created long ago, brother.
I'm
He's
part of
baby
that
chewing this.
monster.
I know you
No,
are.
I'm
I
part of
know you are.
that. And so I just PT Blam. The truth of the matter is damn. Every time I heard shit about this game, it's been like way over the top, awesome. Type of like, oh, it's gonna blow your minds.
Pong
Oh,
has
it's
the
just gonna
biggest
take
smile on his
over.
face right now.
I
I
do.
hope he
You
realizes
could
this.
hear it right through the
So
mic.
I
yeah,
really, it's Todd Howard. It's his new calling. Like this game has to be good. If it isn't, then we'll all have egg on our face. Maybe not as much. You might not have as much because you are being the right way about it, PTK. But I mean, I'm already going to be one of the first they go after. But I do think that it's going to meet expectations, and they must got something really special because the first thing I heard about the game was that that was the reason why they bought Bethesda, or they saw a part of the game and they were absolutely wowed. The second thing I've heard about the game was it's absolutely amazing. It's going to blow people away, and just recently I heard it's going to just take over. That's it's going to have that Elden Ring effect where that's all we're talking about.
Oh, come on. See, yeah.
So, I mean,
see, look.
More, Tim. Just make up some stuff, Tim. Tim, just make up
Yeah.
some stuff. What else did you hear, brother? This is great.
Listen, I'm just hearing that like the overall vibe is better than you would think. That's the reason why I'm so high on it, is because from what I've been told and what I've heard, really this glowing stuff. Like this is, and if you think about it, you think about what Todd Howard has done and how big of a industry icon, and you think about how long they've been working on the game, and you just think of the concept of the game, space, Skyrim in space. How the hell can they get it wrong? Like, this is a real good shot to be, it's like that blue chip prospect that can't go wrong. I think that's what we got here. I think we have Bryce Harper or one of those type prospects that you just know is not going to fail. It's just going to be, and that's what I'm equating it to. It's going to be, you're going to have a superstar Hall of Famer on your hands, and that's the way I feel. I'm hearing great things, and I think it's going to deliver.
That's crazy. And
it's going to be. Go ahead.
No,
I think it's going to be the talk of the show. It's going to be when they do the show. I think we might get some information on the show this week. Keep your eyes out very soon. There's something coming. I believe it's going to be a digital event coming. So it's the stuff that I've heard in the grapevine. Not anything
in full swing.
Yes, fun speculation. This is fun speculation right here. It's going to be a digital showcase, no in person, and it should be announced soon. And the focus is obviously going to be this game called Starfield.
That's crazy.
TK, can we just have a Starfield segment every single Saturday where Tim just drops in and we can just talk Starfield? Can we do that?
I will try to make it.
I know you love that, right?
Because he's speaking my language right now.
That might work for me, PTK.
Todd Howard, praise be his name.
My goodness! So you literally just made the rest of this week and or month for Pong at this point in time. Like you've literally, so it's crazy because, and shout out to Deploy, he did just put this in chat. And this is a crazy thing to think about, Tim. Sony wanted Starfield exclusive for a reason. There was a reason they tried to grab that game. They specifically went out and said, we want that. Yeah,
exclusive.
There's
for
a reason.
A year.
And damn near had it, right? Yeah, essentially.
I think that's what really. I think what happened, or why Phil has a different take on exclusives than he did, or how he took a hard line on Bethesda, saying that it's going to only be on Game Pass, was because Sony really got a little crazy. Coming up for the new generation. They secured Forbidden, whatever that game is, a couple of Final Fantasy 16.
Forspoken.
Forspoken 2 years. Ghostwire Tokyo a year. Deathloop. Kena. And they had these high profile, and one of the biggest one was Starfield, which I heard, like I said, was going to be a year exclusive. For Sony, and believe me, that's why I give it a little to the Sony fans, because they would have been shoving it right up our ass every day, and now it's excruciating for them because like people say, where's gameplay? Where Bethesda didn't change overnight. Okay, they've always ran it the way they've done it, and the way they've handled Fallout 4. Just use that as a template of how they're going to use Starfield. You're going to get gameplay, and it's not going to be bullshit. It's you're probably going to wow you. But yeah, I'm hearing some great things about it, and I cannot wait to see what they have. And I think Pong and myself and everyone on this panel is going to be very happy when the game launches.
Oh no, absolutely,
Day
absolutely.
one in Game Pass.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We don't have we got it. That's the crazy thing.
And this is a great segue into we're opening things up, chat. So let us know. Once again, we always do this the last 30 minutes, 40 minutes of the show, depending on when we get done with the main question. So we're opening this up to you guys. Once again, episode 250. You guys hanging out with us here. We got an awesome show going live right now. Tim Dog hanging out with us. So if you guys ever got a chance to ask him anything, now is the time. Go ahead and throw it in chat. Let us know what you guys want to talk about. I do want to talk a little bit more about Starfield because this was a poll of the week not too long ago, just about Starfield in general, and just about the fact that like the importance of this game overall, Tim. So I'd like to dive into that because we talked about, and you brought up this great point. You brought up this fact that Elden Ring was something that happened. It shook the industry. Elden Ring is something in the industry that hasn't happened probably since what?
Right.
What's the last game to do what Elden Ring did?
It's a good question.
Somebody think of when's the last? I can't remember. What, Grand Theft Auto? What?
Well, Fallout 4 basically wiped out everything, but it wasn't to the extent Elden Ring was.
It wasn't this. It wasn't this at all. And I can't. Maybe a Nintendo game. Maybe I don't recall one.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, Chad. If you
Breath of the Wild was up there, but still,
I don't know.
God of War was very kind of took over for a while.
Yeah, this is.
But nothing, that's still not on Elden Ring. Elden Ring is really.
It was unprecedented, almost, right?
Unprecedented.
Like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
GTA. Obviously, GTA kind of had that effect.
Yeah.
GTA when it first came out, it took over everything.
Absolutely, but the point being here is that I said, Tim, and I don't know if you would agree with this, and we'll open things up once again. Chat, let us know what you guys want to talk about. The show is yours. You're taking over the show for the rest of however long we're here. So throw those questions in chat. Let us know if you guys got things you want to ask Tim or just us here on the panel. Let us know. But Tim, once again, going back to this Elden Ring, I said that we could, but there's a realistic chance we could have two of these in one year. We can book in a year with another Elden Ring like event, another Elden Ring like game in Starfield. I don't know where you're at on this, but you seem to be on board with that based on what you've been hearing. And once again, you're far closer to this than I probably am at this point in time. So do you is that where you're going to hang your hat? You're going to die on that hill?
Yeah, but the only thing I'll say is that there's probably going to be a little bit of civil unrest because I think that the people that don't have the game are going to be really pissed off. So
I get what you're saying.
So I think that you're gonna add that dynamic, and there are going to be people that are actively looking to belittle the game or find something wrong that they can exploit. The cast of characters that do this. It's unfortunate because the developer is being put in the middle, but it is what it is. You'll have that you'll have that that involved with the whole thing. But I do think that really that it could get a lot of praise. I think, in my opinion, if it gets over 90 Metacritic, that's enough to say that it's done what it has to do. If it gets a low score on Metacritic, obviously that's going to be, pushed out. People are going to go crazy. But I do think that even if it's like an 87, like Fallout 4 was, you're going to have this. Going to have a strong effect because it's a game that, we know the pedigree involved, but the concept of the game is something that everyone wants. Or everything dreamed about, like an RPG in space, Elder Scrolls in space, different worlds, different all types of think of the scale is what they say 4 times of what Elder Scrolls was, or the amount of there's like 250,000 lines of narrative. or
Yeah.
dialogue.
The
The
immense
game is
scale of this
absolutely
game.
huge. I am hearing some of the in the way this was talked about publicly, the way the systems work, the gameplay mechanics are truly special. So I guess we're gonna wait and see it. But yeah, I think it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be what's talked about, but you're gonna have that shit element that is gonna be there waiting to harp and waiting to be real negative about it because they're left out.
Yeah, no, there and once again, I mean we talked about this a couple weeks ago. It actually was a super popular poll that I did a few weeks ago, and we covered this immensely because I do think there's a realistic chance that happens. Just because I feel like this is something that like Todd's waited his whole life to make this game, bro. Like he's waited his entire life, and the amount of effort, the things that they've already talked about publicly. That last little fireside chat that they did, bro, made me.
Crazy.
Oh, I mean, it made me feel so giddy about the possibility of what the game could be just from the dialogue and the character interaction, from being like the main character, the side characters, and all the different ways to navigate this world that they've crafted. Like, dude, like this could be truly something special. And I think people aren't really going to understand that though. I don't think people are really going to get it until we get some type of announcement or some kind of event. So I hope that what you were talking about, maybe news of an event soon, I hope we get that. And that would be great. That would be
I
phenomenal.
think that's pretty. I think it's definitely going to come soon. A good chance, maybe this Monday, maybe the following Monday. But
Yeah.
I had asked Phil. I had asked Phil a hot seat question about this, and I got hit up by somebody who I would say is a source that would know. And they said that it's coming soon. It's a digital event, and they were also the same source that told me that there would be no E3, and that's canned and Microsoft be doing something. So the source is ironclad. So I do think that Monday, keep your eyes open. It's about that time. I think.
We're getting late April here, early
Once
May. So
yeah, and the reason why Phil wouldn't answer it is because it's not fair to the people who who prepare this stuff. They have their own marketing team. They have their own schedule. They have their own way of delivering the news, and they want to do it in their special way. They want to start the news cycle not on a Friday when I asked the question. They'd rather start the news cycle on something like this on a Monday.
Oh,
So
Monday be huge.
like
It's way better for something like this.
Yeah, so I can understand why he kind of would have been in a bad position to answer that question. But listen, I'm like you guys. We want something now. We've been waiting on ever since Activision. We were all shocked, and then we were all talking about politics and laws and all this bullshit, FTC, and all the stuff that we don't really want to talk about because of that's what was going on. But ever since then, we haven't had a bit of news at all, and I think that we're all starving for it, and rightfully so. We're due.
Yeah. And there's a lot of that too. Just once again, shout out Chad. I saw Mav pop in here. Shout out FSP, host of FSP. Shout out Mav hanging out with us. Phantom Zinc hanging out with us. Ray as well. And Phantom just dropped a question for us in chat as well. He said, Tim, really to you, but we can all, kind of dive in on this. He said, do you know if Indiana Jones will be revealed first or Wolf 3? And what is ID Software up to? So looks like chat's trying to pick your brain a little bit here.
Yeah, I have heard nothing on that. Your guess is as good as mine. I think they showed Indiana Jones way too early, or they just wanted to get it out there. Talking 4 years away. I don't think that's anywhere close. And then as far as Wolf, that's a good question. Do I think it's in development? There's a pretty good chance that it is. But yeah, the id Engine and those games that they make, again, the Bethesda deal, how freaking crazy is that for Xbox? They got all these games that are going to be exclusive to Game Pass. They're definitely coming, and maybe we hear it at the showcase there might be 2 showcases this year. Next year there might be 3 showcases because when they have the Activision deal, that's going to get its own event.
Yeah.
So you might get E3, Activision event, and XO. This year you might get an in-person XO at the end, but the upcoming one's going to be digital, and depending on how they scale this or the way they do it, I think information on the future, if they do it, probably will be focused on the XO, and the upcoming digital event will be a Starfield blowout with Redfall and Forza. They'll announce Forza, Age of Empires 4 probably coming to console, Rise of Nation coming to console, and some other stuff.
Awesome. Anybody want to tackle this, Fuzz, Pong?
On Indiana Jones, I agree with Tim on it being a good ways out. Like I figure it's in like early development when they showed it last year, so 4 or 5 years. One thing I do, it's not that I know, it's just I've kind of figured out with Forza Hub being put to bed the end of May. I think they gave us a date of May 25th when Forza Hub, which is how if you've played Forza, it's where you collect credits for playing the game or playing any of the previous versions of it. It's like your reputation gets you a reward every week type of deal. Well, Horizon 5 kind of did away with that or wasn't a part of it. And it looks like it's completely shutting that. They're completely shutting that down here at the end of May. So that tells me with them shutting that down, that there's probably that second flight happening only because it would show the progress otherwise, because you're playing another Forza product, then people would all of a sudden move from like, Forza level 12 to like Forza level 14 or something. And it's like, wait, what game are you playing that you haven't already played in the past month or two? And I think they want to still keep that somewhat under wraps for a little bit longer before they're, I guess, ready to announce it at their E3 in place of E3 event type of thing. But
good call
thinking,
there.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Well, you're the Forza.
The tea leaves have
you're
spoken.
The Forza guy, right?
Yeah, I can't wait until that thing is unveiled. Like, yeah, I'm playing a lot of GT7 now, but it just there's so many things that Motorsport 7 did right. There's only like a couple of things that I would want them to borrow from GT7. One being like the time progression thing, or like different times of day as far as when you can start and finish the races, as opposed to just being day or night or rain or no rain type of thing. And then paintable driver suits and helmets. That's pretty much it. Everything they had before was good.
So do you have a PS5?
I do have a PS5. I have my Series X. My boys have two. Each one of my boys have their own Series S, and we all have gaming rigs. Although I don't, I use my gaming rig for GTA 5 because you can play GTA 5 with all the online content on computers, so with mods and stuff. So I just do GTA over there, but everything else is either on my Series X or on my PlayStation, which I had to camp out for that thing. And pretty much GT7 is the only thing. I mean, I played Deathloop on it. I can't wait.
How's it look comparatively to Forza 7? And I know that you can be honest about it. All
right, so there's graphically playing the game, I prefer Motorsport 7, except on one track, and that's Daytona during the day. Now, I've been to Daytona several times for NASCAR events and things like that. It's a washed out grayish track, and it looks like that in Motorsport 7. They do a little bit better job as far as like the small details on GT7 for that track, but at night I prefer how Motorsport 7 has that track lit up, like the Ferris wheel and all the things around there. So there's from a graphic standpoint, Motorsport was so awesome from when it was released in 2017. If you just add ray tracing to it, that's pretty much all that's needed. And a lot of people will say, oh, there's more detail in GT7. It's like, all right, I give it to you on that. I can see the stitching in the steering wheel. I can see the nuts and bolts, on the bumper holding it in place. I don't really care about that as long as the car handles. And I've always loved how motorsport, where it feels like you're in the track. Like if you've ever taken a car on like a road course or any type of track, there's a certain feel once the tires are warm where you feel like you're in the track, not on rails, but embedded in the track. So the car's predictable going in and coming out of the turns. With GT7, even after playing as much as I have, there are still points where you get this out of nowhere kind of, wheel spin or slip up. It has this like knee jerk, like gliding effect sometimes that I don't care how good you are at tuning, you're still going to have. Even those that do videos solely on GT7 tuning or GT Sport tuning, they even say it's like it just has this weird twitch. Steering wheel or controller, it doesn't matter. And I don't know. I just look at it as motorsport has always been, you drive the car at 9/10. It's as predictable as what a real car feels like. GT7 sometimes feels like you're at 10/10. It's like, oh, you're on the edge, oh, and it just spun out for no reason type of thing. So it's I don't know. I'm more of a motorsport fan, but I'm loving some of the things in GT7 that I would like to see carried over in or mimicked in Motorsport 8 or whatever the next one they call it next. So that's all I got.
Okay. No, once again, obviously, racing, that motorsport's coming out. That's obviously huge for you, huge for all of us too as Xbox fans. So we definitely want to see that. Chat, once again, let us know what you guys want to talk about. Anything else? Let's see what else we got. I think I may have missed one. Let me see. Let's see here. Where are we at? Oh, somebody asked about Deploy asked about where is Bright Memory Infinite and Exo Mecha. Now, Pong, I don't know. I didn't watch the entire show. I'm sure those probably weren't part of the indie show. That was.
No, they were not. I'm trying to think if Exo Mecha was in there or not. But Bright Memory Infinite is still, according to the developer, I think in his last update, which is I want to say a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, I think he said it was coming along and that they were still on track for console release in 2022, but he could still not give a date, right? And then I think Exo Mecha, and if anybody else remembers, did get pushed. I think that's 2023 now. I think that came out officially as a delay. So I think we'll probably see that early springtime 2023. From what I was hearing, as far as what they said. So I think that's where that one is in.
Okay.
Exo Mecha looks so much fun.
It does. So shout out to Caitlin. Shout out to Mav for the $9.99 super chat. He said, wow, 250 PTK. Amazing to know you, one of the best hosts, and you do things the right way. Can't wait for episode 500 from Mav. He's driving. So yes, please make it home safe, you too. Shout out to the other family out there.
The dynamic duo.
The dynamic duo. So shout out to you, Mav, driving on the way home. I know I know Caitlin came in here and mentioned you had a work event that you had to attend. So thank you, bro. Appreciate the support, man. Mav, another rock star. You guys are awesome. They do great things at FSP. So go follow them. Pong, you guys can attest to that. Everybody here can attest to the quality, integrity of the everything at FSP. So shout out to you guys. But so we got another topic that I want us to cover as well. Let me actually pull it up here. There was something in our DMs we were talking about. I wanted to make sure we got to that.
You want to talk about Ubisoft Project Q and NFTs?
That's something. Yeah, no, that's pretty hilarious. No, so can I just get this off my chest? I just want to, Tim. Ubisoft and me are kind of a love-hate thing, Tim, and it's. I just need to get this off. Where the fuck is Heartland? Where's Division? Where's anything Division related? Why are you? Like what is going? Like I don't understand. Like are we just, is that on the back burner? Is that not a thing? Are you guys
they can't figure out how to make any more money NFT wise? Bro, like they know we ain't falling for that.
Yeah,
bro, this is I've never seen. Where's X Defiant? What happened to X Defiant? We're doing something new now already.
Well, they took the graffiti off and the Tom Clancy name off of X Defiant, so that even changed a little bit because of the feedback. So they're starting to listen. But I don't think they're hearing all of it. It's like they hear, oh, you want us to change the logo? Yeah, we'll do that. No, we didn't want you to just change the logo. But I don't know. Ubisoft right now, I almost want them acquired by Microsoft, and I almost don't because I would be afraid of the hands-off aspect as far as them running themselves, because it looks like they don't know what they're doing as of late. Like before, as much as like 2 years ago, everything seemed fine. Breakpoint didn't hit quite like it probably should have in comparison to Wildlands, and you know Division 2 had the chance to rival Destiny a bit better. I mean, for me personally, it's always going to be the one I hold above Destiny, but for the masses, they had a better opportunity, and they kind of like they got to the door, and then they're like, you know what, I forgot my keys, type of thing. It's like, what are you doing, guys? But yeah,
Dude, they have so many balloons. You're talking about Beyond Good and Evil. You're talking about Skull and Bones. There's so much shit just floating around at Ubisoft, Tim. Like, this is crazy. Like, where did this even come from? What poll did they send out and get enough feedback to say we're going to greenlight this? I didn't get an email. I don't know if you guys did, but no. Listen, and I don't want to be the guy who says nobody asked for this, but you like there are other things you guys have announced that you're completely just like ignoring. Like, I don't understand. Ubisoft is doing it again. Remember this happened with Assassin's Creed. They got to that point to where we didn't want to see nothing Assassin's Creed right at the end of that 360 generation. I don't want to hear nothing about Assassin's Creed. They're doing it again, Tim, and I don't understand where this is coming from.
I mean, all I can say is that it's scary that they're looking to sell so much, or they're in the position that they're in. It seems like Fuzzy was joking around. It seems like they were buzzing about the wrong type of things. They were buzzing about NFTs and that bullshit rather than reviving Skull and Bones or getting Skull and Bones to a position where they can, show it off and or play it. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I mean, are they in a stop mode where they're just gonna really try to sell it, or are they gonna get down to business and be the Ubisoft that that you came to love, where they've created great games and they did it on a daily, a yearly time frame. But as far as buying it, I kind of would stay away. Maybe Sony's looking at them for their online infrastructure and the subscription, but I don't know, man. It's not looking good, but that doesn't mean that it's over. They might need to retool, to reschedule this, or to reschedule some stuff, because you mentioned a bunch of games right there, and I don't know if that's their focus right now. It seems like their focus is somewhere, where they're trying to offset.
It's not clear.
Yeah,
it's not clear at all. Clear.
It's a scary position that they're in, and the worst thing is probably Tencent is going to just swoop in and take them, and then they're going to really push.
Don't say that.
I hate to say it, but there is going to be a company that's going to be pushing this NFT shit, and making a hard play for it, because once the outrage goes away and all that bullshit, well, not bullshit, it's rightful outrage, but once that kind of dies down and or they start to get it into the marketplace, if that ever happens and like Ubisoft is the front runner, I hate to say it, they're going to make money off of NFTs. It's kind of inevitable in my opinion, and I appreciate, I love the gamers' passion about fighting this and trying to get rid of it, but I kind of feel like there's like Ubisoft's like the number one company that would kind of like really look at that marketplace and say, hey, this is going to be the next big thing. They were
them
the
in
first
2K, right, Tim? 2K.
Yeah, 100%. So, and
I wouldn't put it past Rockstar either.
100%. And if I'm being honest, it's coming. Even though we fight it like hell, it's coming, and it's gonna take over at one point where they're making a ton of money on bullshit, and hopefully it doesn't affect everything like people think it is. But again, Ubisoft right now is, in my opinion, is in a real bad position, or they seem to be really affected, maybe by COVID in the last couple of years. But again, where the hell are the games? What the hell's going on with Skull and Bones? Do they just do they even have a team on that? Like,
supposedly it's coming. Supposedly
don't-
next year, they're saying.
so I mean,
They're
I
saying
don't
it's a
know.
good spot.
They really need a shot in the arm, or they need to get some confidence in gamers, and or hopefully not purchased by a fucking a shark like Tencent. You know,
Yeah, and that
people
was
were
the
worried
scary
about
part.
Microsoft.
And
Microsoft
Microsoft's the
picks them
best
up. I
place.
think it would be the best thing.
Yeah,
But Microsoft probably wants no part of them. So, but yeah, like if Tencent gets it, I don't think that they would have any problems. See, the problem people say, well, what the thing about who cares, Timmy? Why are you so against Tencent? But you're so okay. The reason why I'm against Tencent buying stuff is because, quite frankly, they're based in China, and they don't really give a shit what happens if gamers complain. Okay, Microsoft and even Sony, when we go crazy, we get heard. The scary thing is that when you get purchased by a company that doesn't give a shit about you, and then they'll throw it out, they'll throw the NFTs out there, and there'll be no recourse because you know what? It doesn't matter. It's just a money proposition, and there's no human element, or there's no gamer and conversation going there, communication of what they want. A place like Tencent is the perfect example of something, in my opinion, that would just take over and do what the hell they want, and don't care if gamers do not give a shit what gamers think or gamers want. They'll shove NFTs down our throat because you know what? They want to make money, and they don't care, and they won't listen. So that's why I'm scared if Ubisoft sells off to somebody like that, or they haven't done that, Tencent, but that's just what worries me. Is just that there's no connection there to the gamer. You have to have a connection to the gamer, in my opinion, for gamers, so we can communicate. Look at how much communication we do with Xbox. Xbox throws out a bullshit Xbox Live pricing scheme. That day, it's changed. If Tencent did that, let's just do they did something outrageous. You really think they're going to give a shit and change it that day? They will never listen to us. They will just let the forums go on fire. It does not matter. It's a bottom line. There's no identity there. There's no Phil Spencer there. There's nothing there. All it is just a collection of studios that they basically, just investments. And the bottom line is the only thing that counts. And that's where it's scary to me. Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, we all have communication with them.
Yeah. And that's one of the crazy things about that whole proposition. So I don't know if anybody wanted to touch on this before we wrap things up here. I don't know, Pong, if you wanted to say anything or you had anything.
No, I mean, again, Tim's right on the nose, right? And this was the fear that I had, that while the biggest shark in the ocean was busy with a whale, being Xbox, Microsoft, with Activision Blizzard, that the other sharks were going to realize that this was the time to start eating, because they didn't have any fear that Microsoft would come in and just outbid them, because they're tied up with Activision Blizzard. So they're going to be real quiet. There's no law stopping them from making other acquisitions. But again, with everything, with the lights as bright as they are on this deal, they're going to be awfully quiet, and they're not going to make any moves to rock the boat at all. They want to get this deal through. It's too important to the future to let anything upset that even more. And so, again, I just think the other sharks are waiting. They're looking. Obviously, other companies are looking to sell acquisitions. This is a part of the consolidation that's happening in the industry because of how big and how successful the industry is right now. This is natural progression. There's going to be consolidation. The things that are eaten up and consolidated will leave holes, but those holes will be filled by new blood. That's how it works, right? And that's the great part about it. But those sharks like Tencent have been sitting out there just biting off little pieces here and there of about 100 different companies. Like Tim said, any moment could strike the big one. And then we all look back and go, ooh, anybody but them, please. Anybody but them. And Amazon, same thing. Amazon decides to jump in the deep end of the pool here instead of dipping their toes in and decides that this is the time to make their move, look, they're going to jump in. And then what are we going to say when they tie down Ubisoft games to Luna, right? That's like the worst case scenario, right? PC or Luna, take your pick.
Yeah.
So, that's what potentially can happen. So hopefully it doesn't, but I think that the smoke is starting to get thick out here on Ubisoft. I think that they're finally ready to sell, and there's going to be a lot of bidders in that war. It's just unfortunate that Microsoft is not going to be one of those. Obviously, again, they're busy with a whale. Activision Blizzard is absolute fantastic buy, especially at the deal that they got them at. So definitely not going to cry over it. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of bidders out there. And no matter what, there's a good chance that one of those bidders is probably just going to be an investment group that, again, like Tim said, doesn't give a shit about the gamers. That has no idea what they're even doing.
They just want majority stake in making decisions.
Exactly. They just want those streams of revenue. And that's all they're going to be looking at. And that's the bad part about this. So hopefully we get a better result than that. But I think that that's a real possibility.
And once again, chat, you can always make your own discernments about this information, but that's a lot of great points. So on that note, I think Pong is taking us to the house, but it was a phenomenal episode, phenomenal 250. We appreciate everybody in chat. Chat was amazing as usual. You guys came out, showed out. Chat was constantly moving. We appreciate the support. A lot of super chats today. Hopefully, a lot of people subscribing going to come and join us next week at episode 251. But I do want to do something first before we get the guest out of here. I want to say, Tim Dog, appreciate you, brother, my brother, from day one, from episode 0 of the Shop Podcast. You've been a huge motivation to me. Always reaching out to me, checking on me, making sure everything's good. Me and my family, not just, this YouTube stuff as well. So I greatly appreciate you, brother, always motivating me to get this channel up. And, you agreeing to do that first episode because I was nervous as shit, right? I don't want to do it on my own. I'm like, what am I doing here? Tim's like, no, I got you. Don't worry about it, bro. I'll be in there with you. We'll figure this shit out. I remember we were struggling to even – I didn't know how to start. I was like,
and then we had Aaron coming on too. And then we had Aaron. So it was like it was even worse because we were like worried about that. But like everything else you do, you came out flying colors, and you're a great guy, great person, and it's been 6 years, 7. I've known you for like 8 years, and it's just you're a good people, and that's what matters most. And I will be back maybe some little frequently with if I get any Starfield, I'll shoot in here and give you some updates.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yes, I'm going to hit you up in the DMs to come on here, Tim. I'm going to go round blam and just invite you in.
Well, I appreciate it. The show is fantastic. Really evolved since when we played. I've always been a great host, but just to show really the panel, everyone, yourself, PTK, really good show, man. And just keep it going, and I'll be here for 300, and I'll be there for the future too. So just wanted to say thank you for having me. Pong and Fuzzy, you guys are great. Awesome panel right here. And like I said, I'm not going to be a stranger. I will be back. And hopefully Monday we get some news.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Tim. Once again, you guys know what
to
do.
You.
I hope you guys are all already following Tim, right? I assume the chat here at the Shop Podcast understands
I love that confidence,
right?
Tim's like, who's not following me in this community?
That's that New York swag coming out, right? That's that New York swag coming out. But anyway, shout out to you, Tim. Do yourself a favor, follow him. That information down in the description below. You guys know what to do. We support every single guest here on the show because we do appreciate them taking the time to come entertain us, help us talk about these games and have fun. So once again, Tim, the door is always open. You already know. You have a key to the house.
Thank you.
All of that. Not a problem at all, bro. And hopefully, once again, if we get that Starfield info, you may be back sooner than later, man. Just know that you put this out in the atmosphere. You just know you put this energy out.
Listen, I'm all in on Starfield because, like I said, if it doesn't hit, I will be the first one that there'll be a meme out there all over the place about Tim.
That wouldn't be the first time, unfortunately, right? Wouldn't be the first time,
yeah. But this one, like I said, I have a lot of confidence. Great show, and I will be back soon.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong Harvey, Battery of the Shop Podcast. Listen, you're good. You don't need anything. You don't need anything else. You don't need anything else. So yeah,
Great.
yeah. So go ahead.
This is fantastic, PTK. Look, Tim, awesome. Again, an honor, a privilege to have you on the
I
show.
think he jumped out, but shout out Tim.
So
I think he had to
much
go.
for being
Yeah.
here. Yeah, absolutely. He had to go. He just didn't want to get the famously long Pong outro. That's all there was to it. He wanted to get out of here because he knew he'd fall asleep listening to him. But it was great to have Tim here. Appreciate it, brother, for you coming on. PTK, man, again, congratulations on episode 250, brother. Again, all the work you put into this, the one of the OGs out here in this game. Again, nothing but respect for you and everything that you did for me to give me the opportunity. And of course, Fuzzy, you know it, brother. Nothing but love for you. Love what you bring to the table. Love to hear more racing takes tonight. Again, I could just sit and listen to you talk nuts and bolts all freaking night long. Okay. Love it because you got a passion, brother. And that's what, man, it's just amazing to listen to somebody really get down and dirty with a topic like that. So thank you for being here as well. Chat, you guys were all amazing showing up for episode 250 to celebrate with us. Glad you were all here again. All the faces, new, old, it does not matter. And if you're listening to this in the future, shout out to you as well. That support goes a long way. So continue to share this out. Tell your friends to drop on in the shop podcast on Saturday nights. You know we've got the good stuff going on here. Blam just does an absolutely amazing job with the show. So please continue to do that work out there. We appreciate you and love you as well. Look, this has been a fantastic week. No better way to end it than here on the Shop Podcast tonight. You can find me, Pong Soul, Xbox, and of course, Twitter. You know the drill there. And then otherwise, I won't be on the Xbox Factor podcast on Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time, but you need to be there anyways. Of course, it's Mr. Boomstick. It's Double Barrel Gaming. It's Mav when he's available. Man, it's Boxing Burger. It's VJ. And now it's N64 Josh as well. Look, show up there. You're going to get all that good green talk on Tuesdays. So make sure you set those reminders for Xbox Factor podcast. Thursday night, PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM. Shout out to my brother from another, giving me the captain's chair every Thursday night. Look, this week, and if we get news on Monday, like Tim's talking about, this is going to be an extra special week because, as you know, normally it's a two-man show on PM in the PM, but we do have guests from time to time. Well, guess what? We got a big guest this week for Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time, Fun Speculations channel. Be there because the man with a million, Mr. Rand Althor, is going to be on PM in the PM with Mav and I. You know we're going to have a good time. Rand is such a good dude. Cannot wait to sit down and talk with him. Man, it's going to be a great, great show Thursday night. So please drop in there. Then back on Fun Speculations channel, Friday nights, you know it, Xbox Ultimate, the Great Eight, or however many of us are going to be there. It's going to be a flexible show from here on out. We could have Fuzzy jumping in every week at this point. So look, we're just going to have a really, really special time over there. We had Sour Blow Gaming on from Xbox International. Look, it's always a great time Friday nights. Just be there. Xbox all the time with a bunch of left turns that you never know what's going to happen. So be there 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. And then Saturday mornings, living split screen. You know it. Split screen's all one word. My brother from another, Steel Rain, and I, we are now into season 2. We had episode 53 this morning. We are now well above 500 in subs on our way to Mission 1K. So please help us get to Mission 1K. We're not buying subs. We're not going to do all the nonsense to get there. We want real people who want to listen to us talk. We had an epic show today, epic rants going on. Look, it's just a good time Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, 3 p.m. UK time. Episode 54 next week, living split screen. If you missed today's show, go back and check it out. It was awesome, amazing show. Look, I love you all. Please go over to Wandering Dutch's channel for me. Please go over there and show that man some love and go watch CIS 2022. It's about 3 hours long. Over 100 indie games shown in that showcase. Look, we had people in the chat from all over going, this is how you do a showcase. This is the best show since E3 Xbox last year. Dutch put that much production into this show, spent so much of his own personal time working on it. Please go check out the Community Indie Showcase 2022. It'll be worth your watch. You can even fast forward through it and you can look at the whole list of games. You can go through and pick out the ones you want to look at. There's so many games I was not even aware of that are coming out that are now on my radar. So please go check that out. Otherwise, it's the golden age of gaming, people. It really, really is. You can hear the excitement in Tim's voice. You can hear the excitement in all of our voices on all of our shows that we do. There's a reason behind that, and you should be excited too. And I know all of you that are here definitely are, because that's why you're in this community. Go spread that love. Go spread that excitement, right? Fight against the negativity that's out there, the stupid fanboy stuff. Go spread it and be proud of it. Play what you love what you play. Get out there this week and have some fun. I will talk to you all real soon.
Shout out to you, Pong. Always a battery here at the Shop Podcast, man. Go follow Pong on Twitter. The easiest way to keep up with him. Man's always moving around, so easiest way to keep up, go follow him on Twitter. You're going to be able to figure out what he's got going on for the week. But shout out to you, Pong. Glad to have you. Couldn't think of a better person to be a part of 250, brother. So here's to another 250 for all of us. And we're going to go ahead and throw this over to Pong. We're going to go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz.
Back to me? Okay, let's start over again, folks.
So we're going to throw this over to you, Fuzz, man. Just been the longest member outside of myself to ever be on the Shop Podcast. So I can't say the exact date, and I'm going to go back and check. And I think I actually told you what show exactly. I think it was like 62 or something like that, somewhere around there. But it's been years, and I appreciate Fuzz. He's like my brother. I mean, stuff outside of this YouTube stuff has helped me so much from many different standpoints, advice, things like that. But go ahead and let everybody know what you got going on. And once again, you add so much to the show, brother.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Just want thank Tim for joining us tonight. It was awesome having him on here. It's always great, one, just hearing some of the insights he has, and two, some of the information and stuff that's up and coming and things like that. But he's always a great guy to do a podcast with, and just greatly appreciate that. And as far as the Shop Podcast, man, this was an awesome episode. I'm just thankful being a part of this. Thank you, Blam, for inviting me to be a part of this. Thank you, Pong, for being a part of this as well. It's just been awesome being here with you guys all every Saturday, just talking my favorite hobby and things like that. And thank you to everyone in the chat, both those that here with us live as well as those that will catch this later. Greatly appreciate you guys, checking us out, commenting, interacting with us. It's just, it's what we what we look forward to every Saturday with you guys and stuff. So thank you so much for that. And man, for anybody that wants to hear my ramblings on anything racing related, or first person shooters, third person shooters, looter shooters, anything along those lines, just give me a follow on Twitter at @fuzzy_Belvedere. Check out my YouTube channel, @fuzzy_Belvedere. Also join me with Mav, 3-Bit, and Lore Master Jasper on FSP on Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Also find me with Mr. Boomstick, Dreadpool, Web Dave, and on occasion Crispy Bomb, because I think he's stepping away from podcasting for a little bit. He's got a lot of other things going on in the background, but man, just find us on Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And then as always, always come back, check us out on a Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern time here on the Shop Podcast. Always enjoy doing this with you guys. So thank you so much.
And once again, your host with the most here, PTK Blam. Thank you guys for 250. This means more to me than anything. And I appreciate you guys sticking around for this long. It's amazing that we got this far. So hopefully here's another 250, right? So we're going to be back. 251 is on the, we're coming in hot next week. But you can find me at PTK Blam across the board, namely on Twitter, when you want to figure out what's going on with me personally, as well as with the Shop Podcast, or really my panel members as well. So shout out to everybody watching. But thank you guys so much. We're back next week. Hopefully another guest, some great topics. Hopefully, we read some tea leaves tonight, and some of that stuff we talked about, some of that energy actually manifests itself, right? We get some cool announcements next week, things like that. So I know, Pong, we're on the edge of the seat. We're locked in going Monday. Pong is going to get up at like 4 a.m, right? Whatever time the Japanese market opens.
Yep. Who knows? Who knows when it's going to drop, right? We'll get that Xbox wire that nobody realizes is out there, right?
Right.
Somebody finds it. Oh my God! Look at what's going on.
But shout out to you guys, man. Enjoy your weekend, like Pong said. Come back, hang out with us next week. Everybody watching live, everybody going to be watching in the future. Love to have you here. Peace out, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.
Later.